Do I have to pay up to 42% of taxes in Germany? The sad answer is yes, but not everyone. Who has to pay up to 42% in Germany? Let's talk about this. And yeah, how's the tax system in Germany working? The tax system in Germany is not like a flat line who's everyone's paying the same kind of taxes or the same rate of taxes. The system is progressive. This means that with every euro you earn more, you have to pay more taxes. This means higher income, higher taxes. This is a big problem because the next euro you earn, you pay more taxes on this one. The tax rates start at around about 14%, but there's a basic tax-free allowance, a so-called Grundfreibetrag, and after these basic tax-free allowance, you start with paying 40%. 40% and then progressive, it's like this, up to 42%. And in the peak, there's another tax, it's called the rich tax with up to 45%. Yeah, but when do I have to pay the little tax or the big tax rate? It's very easy. In 2025, you have 0 to 2069 a 0% tax. Because 12,069 euros, this is the tax-free basic allowance. But after 12,079 up to 86,480 euros, you're in a progressive system like this from 14 to 42%. At the point of 86,481 euros up to 277,825, you pay round about 42%. And after 277,826, you pay the Reichensteuer, it's called rich tax, with 45%. This means you earn more, you have to pay a higher rate. The big problem is in Germany, the so-called marginal rate. And this is the rate for the next euro you have to pay, as I told a few seconds before. It's called Grenzsteuersatz. In English, marginal rate. This means the next euro you earn is more taxable than the euro before. And the different thing about this is the so-called average rate. It's called Durchschnittssteuersatz. And the average tax rate or the average rate is the total tax paid divided by your income. And this is often a little bit lower because the marginal rate is last euro you earned or the next euro you earned is higher taxed, and the average rate is total tax paid divided by total income. For example, if you say, I'm earning about 70,000 euros, that means round about 25 to 30% average rate, not 42. But you are in this kind of marginal rate of 42%. The 42% applies to the amount above 86,481 euros. The ones below, not taxed in this high deduction. But there are also a lot of factors which influence your tax rate. And these are the classic deductions, like work-related costs. It's like the way you drive to your office that you can deduct from your taxes. Then the home office, then insurance and other things, they lower your taxable income. For example, the married couples have another thing. It's called they can file the jointly tax service, and this is like splitting income. You put them together and then split it, and then you have a lower tax rate. Then we talked about the tax classes, so-called Steuerklassen, which also affects your taxable income. Then there's the question: do we have some side income? Freelance, rent, investments, or something else which pushes your tax rate above for example, 25% or something like this. Then the social security contributions, we talked about this, the so-called Lohnersatzleistungen, which are not taxable, but there's a shadow deduction you have to think about. For example, there's another thing you should know, and who has to pay the 42 or 45%. This 42 or 45% of tax rates in 2025 is only paid by the highest 10 to 15% of German taxpayers, which reach the 42%. The 45% tax rate only applies to the highest incomes above 277,826 euros. This means the above 1%. For example, the most expats and students, they rarely have to pay these kinds of taxes because they are the most time below the so-called taxable low basic tax-free allowance. So in this case, the most of them don't pay any taxes in the income tax. So you don't have to really have a fear about paying 42%. It might be, but if you have to, you're one of the high income persons. So what's the most thing you have to know for 2025? You have to pay taxes if you're above the basic tax-free allowance. That means 12,069 euros and above you have to pay taxes, and the 42% starts at 86,481, and the 45% first is at 277,826 euros. So you don't have to pay 42%, but it might be if you just work a lot or have side incomes. This might be a possibility. If you want to know more about German taxation, then hit the follow button for G-Tax.